Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the number one most valuable real estate community in existence. Today we've got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Nick Perry, the seven-figure wholesaling legend, doing this business completely virtually. Now the owner of the eight-figure cartel, man. He's stepped himself up. He's not on the seven-figure cartel anymore. He's on the eight-figure cartel. How you doing today, Nick?
I'm doing great, man. Appreciate you having me on, and that you were leading the charge there in virtual as well, down in Santiago, Chile, slaying deals here in the United States. It's a great thing about this business. It doesn't matter, where you are, what background you're from. You can, come in and do this anywhere. I've had guys, from all parts of the world, every, continent, come in and crush this. So I love seeing you all the way down there in Santiago, crushing it as well.
Hey, it's a pleasure. The pleasure is all mine. I'm happy, grateful that you could come and join us. We've been coordinating this, for some time now, and I appreciate you taking the time to hop on and share with the community. First and foremost, I want to talk about you, man, and for the people that are joining us for the first time, we got over 70 people joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Keep sending out that link. We want to crush 100 people on this live. We want to talk about Nick Perry. I know there are tons of other podcasts that break down your story and how you got, into real estate, but ladies and gentlemen, this man, he's a Christian. This man is a husband. This man is a father. And this man is a successful entrepreneur and bodybuilder. Man, you're crushing life. You're an ambitious guy. God has given you an incredible vision. And I want to talk about that. I really want to highlight that. So for the people that are in here, tell us how you got started in real estate and how you got into wholesaling. Give us a little bit of context so that we can understand who Nick Perry is.
Yeah, I'm a high school dropout. Came from Northern Virginia, right outside of Washington D.C. I didn't have much growing up. My family, worked check to check when we went to the grocery store once every 2 weeks, and if we ran out of money, then you gotta go to work and figure it out. And so, in I got my first sales job at a cell phone store, like like a third party retailer selling cell phones, and that was my first taste of sales. And I remember within a couple months, the manager went on maternity leave, so they promoted me to the store manager. But I was only 15. They thought I was 18, but I was only 15. And so they said, "Hey, you can be the store manager now, and it's full time, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and it's gonna be 18 an hour plus commission." In high school, that was a fortune. It's like, you know what? I guess I'm not going to school anymore. So I just started working full time after that. So I did different sales jobs in high school, and then became a personal trainer when I was 18. And personal training was amazing for me because I started getting around a lot of wealthy people. Like where I grew up, I wasn't hanging around any wealthy people. I was hanging around, you know, the wrong crowd, around a bunch of hood rats and getting in trouble all the time. And then when I got into personal training, I started seeing like, wow, all these people that are coming in, that are my clients that are really successful, they don't seem like they're that much smarter than me. They seem like they work less. Like, what do y'all do for a living? Like, it's Tuesday afternoon and like you're just, doing whatever you want all day and you got no schedule. And I started finding out that all business owners, most of them were in real estate. And so, success leaves clues, right? Real estate produces 80% of the millionaires out there. And so I sort of was thinking to myself, I'm like, and I picked the wrong line of work. I can't keep trading time for money. If you're in a job, you're trading time for money. And you'll never get wealthy working in a job, right? Maybe so if you're like, Steve Wozniak or something of Apple, but it's very, very seldom. If you want to have control of your financial future, you got to have the guts and tenacity to break out on your own and to create something for yourself. And so I was always a rebel growing up. I didn't want to take shit from a boss anyways. And so I was like, I'm going to create my own company. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how to do it. I had no money, no license. I had no knowledge of real estate. And so what did I do? Got on YouTube. And I remember at this time, I made the conscious decision that I wanted to get out of my hometown, which was the hardest thing, but the best thing that I ever did. So I moved from Northern Virginia to Austin, Texas.
Okay.
I had no job, no connections, um, really no money. I started with 5 grand in my name. And I ended up saying, like, I need to figure out how to make this real estate thing work. But I mean, the odds were stacked against me, to say the least. I was on a air mattress that had a hole in it, an old laptop and a cell phone, and I had to figure out, like, how am I going to make my freaking dreams come true? And at that time, the thing to do to get seller leads was send out handwritten yellow letters, direct mail. So I would literally sit down at my kitchen counter and handwrite yellow letters and spend all my money on frickin' postage and mail these letters out. Long story short, I got some calls and started going out on these appointments. Back then, you couldn't do this virtually. I know I'm like Unc over here. I'm dating myself, but back then you had to like literally go out to these people's house, walk their property with them, sit down, do the dog and pony show, and try to get them to agree and sign a contract on their kitchen counter. And so that's how
Wow.
I started, and it was freaking brutal, man. I remember that was the summer of 2014. I was freaking broke. I'm like running out of money. I just had back surgery.
Oof.
I was driving everywhere, wasting gas money. I had, no AC in my car. I'm in the state of Texas. Yeah, it was brutal outside, and it took me 104 of these face-to-face seller appointments, and it took me 11 months to get my first deal.
Wow.
It was horrible,
Yeah.
terrible. I was, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people on here that still have done a lot better than me, right? So,
What motivated you to keep going? I mean, 11 months in, you haven't gotten anything. Why did you believe that this was still worth your time?
I think some of it was sunken cost fallacy,
Yeah.
right? So when you go so far through to an endeavor, it's like, I got to see it through now because I already invested so much time, energy, and like my entire net worth, and it wasn't working out for me. And I remember it was like probably like appointment 75, and I got back home one day after getting told no again, and I'm in my shitty little 1 bedroom apartment with no furniture because I couldn't afford furniture. And I'm like, what am I doing with my life? And maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe this whole thing's a scam. Maybe other people can do it, but I can't do it. I'm not as talented. I'm not as skilled as them. All these little bitch voices started coming into my head.
Yeah.
So I had to sit there and have a real, like, look in the mirror moment. And I remember I was like, yo, I didn't come this far to only come this far. So either I'm going to get rich or I'm going to die trying. I will go homeless and be freaking writing yellow letters in, in the back of a grocery store parking lot somewhere until my last breath, or I will become successful at this. So I had that burn the shit moment. And I was willing to do whatever it fucking take. So I was just like, all right, that's the clear path is I'm going to get rich without trying. And I just continue to persevere through. Now, during this time, right, I had to go take a job in the beginning. And this ended up becoming one of the biggest blessings for me in my career. Because like I told you, because I sucked at sales. I got told no by 104 people. Right? I ended up getting a sales job at Indeed.com. And when I went in there, I remember I was so hungry because I was like, listen, well, first of all, I was about to be late on rent. And I remember I was like, all right, here's the deal. The faster I can go in here and crush it at this job, the faster I can get out and become my own man and have my own business. So I already had the goal of going in and just crushing it and working nights and weekends. And so that's what I did. I went from like $800 in my account to making $250,000 a year right off the rip. I went in and I just busted my ass at Indeed, and it's an inside sales job. It's like Wolf of Wall Street, talking to 60 calls a day, 120 minutes, high quota, high pressure environment. And I went in there and went rookie of the year, Top Gun, and just gave it all I had and started making a lot of money. So that was a life-changing moment for me. And what it did for me was two things. Not only did it give me money and liquidity so I could live and start, putting more resources into my business, but it also taught me the sales acumen that I desperately needed in order to get good at my real estate career.
Mm.
So that's how I got my start. Then, while I was at Indeed, I got my first deal. Then right after that, I got another one and another one and another one, and then it started to pick up. And within, you know, 2 years of working that job, I left my, multi six figure sales role and became went full time into real estate. And that was my first year that I did seven figures
Mm.
in 2016, and then it's been up into the right ever since. So
Wow, that's incredible,
that's how.
man. That's incredible. I mean, it's got to take a lot to humble yourself, really, and take a job. Because I know a lot of people, myself included, man, we're entrepreneurs. We can't really take direction willingly. We don't want it, right? We don't want to take direction. We want to give direction. We want to do things our way. We want to have control over our life, over our time, what we do. And to be in a position where you have to recognize that you need help, to get to a position where you can do that, it takes a lot, man. So I commend you for that. And I hope that a lot of people that are listening right now, we got over 100 people joining us right now. Thank you, everybody. Listen to this moment that Nick is sharing with you, because I know there are plenty of people wherever they're at in their journey, whether that's they've scaled a business and they're stuck, maybe they're plateauing right now in their business, or they're still trying to get to their first deal. They might be hitting a wall and they need to take a step back, humble themselves, and connect with somebody that's already gotten over that barrier and learn from them and apply what they teach you, right? So definitely this applies to everybody at every level. Listen to what he's saying here, because this is so true. And I appreciate you sharing that with us, Nick. So let's fast forward now. You've gotten something figured out. You're no longer writing these yellow letters. Now let's fast forward to where you're getting into the world of Google ads, right? Because that's where a lot of people know you as an expert. You're running these ads online and you're finding these motivated sellers. You're no longer doing the outbound marketing. You're getting these motivated leads sent directly to you. They're filling out forms. They're giving you a call. Let's dive into that and let's talk about how you position yourself in a way where these people that are motivated to sell find you.
Yeah, well, back then, nobody was doing it. I want you guys to draw the conclusions on this. So, especially now with the age of technology and the way that things are progressing with artificial intelligence, um, you need to be able to trust your gut and be willing to do what you see as right. So back then, again, everybody was teaching outbound traditional advertising. And it just made more sense to me, like intuitively, like I knew. I was like, dude, just get people coming on your website. It's gonna be a much higher quality lead, right? And if you can get just people reaching out to you, that's gonna eliminate a lot of headaches in this business. So I made a website, and then again, back then, very limited knowledge on anything on YouTube. There was one guy that talked about real estate Google ads, and I like binge watched all his content. I actually cold DM'd him and told him that I was going to be in his town in Connecticut. I wasn't going to be there. And I asked him, I said, hey, I'm actually going to be in Danbury, Connecticut next week. Can I pay you to take you out to lunch? I'll pay you money. And I didn't think anything was coming. He said yes. So what did I do? I got my ass on a flight and I flew to JFK. I rented a car, drove 3 hours into middle of Connecticut, and I took this guy out to lunch. We hit it off. I ended up getting mentorship from him. He gave me 6 Zoom calls, and that was all the training that I needed.
Wow.
And then from there, it was lights out. I didn't have to do all these stupid forms of marketing, like direct mail or cold calling or texting, and that's really when my business started to take off. So, but that was a contrarian bet back then. Like most of the big players didn't do that. Oh, you guys got to be willing to say like, what is the fastest path to revenue, and trust your own instincts. In business, the ones that are contrarian and aren't scared to jump outside of the box are going to win a lot of times. A lot of times you're going to be wrong, but a lot of times you're going to win too. And when you win big, when you go against the pack, that's where major breakthroughs happen. That's where not only did I learn how to do PVC, but guess what else I learned how to do? I did nationwide. So I was the first person doing nationwide wholesaling. Nobody else had ever even thought about doing nationwide. Some people tried it and failed. And I remember that I was like, man, if I could just do this all over the country, then I'll be a freaking millionaire. And I told my mentors at the time, and they were like, absolutely not. It's a suicide mission. You just need to pick your market, go deep on advertising there, stay in your backyard. And I realized that, hey, if I expanded my geographical targeting from cities to doing the entire nation, guess what? My lead costs dropped by 90%. I was paying and when I was in Texas, if I was marketing in DFW, it would cost me $200 a lead. When I opened up my Google Ads to nationwide, when I first started doing that, it was costing me like $6 a lead. Now it costs us like $25 a lead, but who cares?
Wow.
And you start thinking about all the other bottlenecks that come along with it. Well, guess what? I figured out all the bottlenecks and how to overcome it to make a multi-seven-figure business. So that was another contrarian bet. So I made a contrarian bet to jump online and start spending money on inbound advertising. And then I made another contrarian bet to go and do this nationwide before anybody was doing it. And it was hard, but I figured it out, streamlined it, and that's what ended up ultimately making me a multi-millionaire.
That's absolutely incredible, man. And I also want to highlight the fact that, you've been in the game for over a decade doing this, right? That's what a lot of people don't recognize. They see the success, they see the result, they see the fruits of your labor, but they don't see the struggle. They don't see the hardship. They don't see the dedication, the discipline, and the time that it took, to get to where you're at, right? They just see that you're there. And it's incredible, for the people that do walk the path, how long it can take, right? But did you ever have a moment where it was just all at once, like all that you were going through the valley, for some time, and then all of a sudden you just had a breakthrough? Or do you feel like it was more incremental, each step of the way there?
It's incremental. You're never going to feel like you ever made it, no matter how far you come along. And, I get, a lot of credit now, but I still feel like that guy in my one-bedroom apartment that's grinding every single day for what he's got. Success and progress in business, what it really feels like is it feels like going to the gym, right? When you first start going to the gym, you don't see results, right? And you keep going and you keep going and you keep going, and you can't see the results until you really look at your before and after pictures, 3 months, 6 months, a year. It's the same thing in business. It's not like you feel like, oh man, I just hit this S curve of growth and my life's amazing now. Right? No, it's more like every day is a freaking grind, and you just end up getting stronger and better, and 1% better every day over the course of a year adds up really quick.
Yeah.
So there's no secret sauce, there's no magic bullet, there's no secret software that I'm using there's never one particular moment where I was like, man, I arrived.
Yeah.
Just 1% better every day.
So I know you say there's no secret sauce, there's no magic bullet, but what do you feel like you're doing differently from most people that are really actively pursuing this business, that are investing money in Google ads, but are just actually getting shitty leads, right? Now, before I say, shitty leads, there's no such thing as necessarily, it's not always the lead, right? Because some people, they just can't convert, it's their sales, that sort of thing. But I know you're doing the nationwide stuff. Sometimes, and I'll speak from my own personal experience, and a lot of people in here probably have a similar experience. I've run through some shitty leads where the value of the property is just super low, right? It's not that they're not motivated. Yeah, they want to sell, but there's not really a lot of demand for a property out in the sticks. and we have all of the tools. We've got Novation, we got cash. If we need the financing, we can get the financing. So it's not like that's the bottleneck. But when we talk about running these campaigns like nationwide, some of these areas I feel like are just not where we want to do business, right? So how is it that you're targeting these people that are actually compatible for the business model that actually convert?
Great question. So we do nationwide advertising, so I have nationwide campaigns running all the time. And the reason is our nationwide campaign is our highest return on ad spend campaign. But I also do statewide marketing, and I even do countywide marketing as well. And you're like, well, why the hell do you do all? Seems redundant, right? Here's the thing, like I told you, nationwide marketing is our highest return on ad spend channel, but it's very inconsistent. So, when you're doing nationwide, every week's a mixed bag of leads,
Yeah.
right? Some weeks it's going to be good, some weeks it's going to be bad, and you just got to take the cards you're dealt, so to speak. Now, that's no way to run a business. It's hard to be consistent when you're having all these ups and downs in lead quality. But again, if you zoom out, because the cost per lead is so cheap, and the lead to contract is so good, and the competition for these deals in these small to medium-sized markets is so low, that's where we make the majority of our money. Now, you can't run a business like that because having fluctuations in lead quality will wreak havoc in your business. So that's why we do statewide and countywide marketing as well, to level out those ups and downs that you get from your nationwide marketing. But it's a higher cost per lead, and you're going to have more competition when you're doing those statewide and countywide forms of marketing. But I love nationwide. The majority of the deals that I get are in towns you guys have never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I make millions of dollars.
And so are you novating these, or what is the strategy? Because I've seen a couple things. I know that.
If it's in the sticks, you're not selling it to a cash buyer.
Right.
It doesn't exist. Good luck. Maybe you find the one contractor that, forget about it. That property is going to MLS to a retail buyer. End of story. If it's a rural property, it's going on the MLS to a retail buyer. Don't waste your time trying to wholesale the deal. Also, guys, when you're running nationwide marketing, you're not going to work every freaking lead. We get a bunch of, I'd say, 1 out of every 4 leads we get, we don't even work it. It's not worth our time. But I don't care, because our return on ad spend is there to be able to do that.
So what do you feel like you have to budget for in order to make that bet, right? Because I know you said that you can't really build a business off of inconsistent leads, right? And if you're building a business, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm gonna make a few assumptions. You don't want to go the route of just nationwide. Are you suggesting that people first find, a few markets, maybe a few states or a few counties, and build off those counties or those states first, and then after they've got a bag that they can spend, that's kind of just like side money that they can just throw and see what the return is going to look like, that's when they start to implement the nationwide? Or what would your suggestion be for the approach to doing Google ads correctly?
Yeah, great question. So this ties into Ernesto and Keem's question here is, how would you know what's workable out the gate and what leads not to work? So if you're going to spend money on more expensive forms of marketing, like you're going to do statewide and countywide marketing, you want to make sure that the lead quality is as good as possible. So what determines a good lead for us? It has nothing to do with a lot of the things that you might think, like the age of the house or anything like that. It all comes down to supply and demand. Real estate is a commodity, just like sugar, corn, steel, and supply and demand controls everything. So how do you measure supply and demand in real estate? We use a very simple metric called the pending percentage. So what is the pending percentage? All right, you go on Zillow and you see a certain area, maybe it's a MSA or a county or a subdivision. And in that selected area, how many houses are for sale? Look at how many houses are for sale. And then based on that, you want to see how many are actually pending. So example, all right, 100 houses are for sale, 30% are pending. 30% pending ratio, right? Give you some rules of thumb. Anything that is 15% or lower, it's gonna be really tough. 15 to 25%, that's like I would give it kind of a lower range, but it's a workable. 15 to 25% pending, that's workable, but you're gonna need to get it at, a solid discount in order for it to move. 25 to 35%, that's like from a balance to like up to 35%, that is we're starting to get into the really strong range. 35% pending and up, it's on fire.
Mm.
Now here's the deal. When you're in these on fire markets, guess what? You can get that thing under contract any decent type of price, it's going to sell. You could get, say, let's use the contrary example. Let's say you got a house and it's 10% pending, and you're like, man, this is a nice house. I'll give you a perfect example. Southwest Florida, they got hammered with hurricanes last year. A lot of them, you can't get insurance on those houses now. So what happened? If you look in Southwest Florida, the pending percentage is very low, and you got some beautiful houses down there, fucking waterfront, like on the canal. But here's the thing. Doesn't matter what price you get them for, they ain't selling.
Mm.
They're not gonna move.
Yeah.
On the contrary, you go to a place like, let's use like, certain areas of upstate New York, Michigan that are 40-50% pending. Guess what? It could be a crack house that's completely dilapidated, but you get it at the right price, it's gone. It's all about supply and demand. If you can just get that into your head, that will change the game for you. Don't look at population. Don't say, oh, this lead is rural. Like, population has nothing to do with supply and demand.
Mm. That's that right there. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to drop some fire in the chat for Mr. Nick Perry putting us on. I'm telling you, that gem right there, if you apply it to your business, it will change it completely. I promise you that. I guarantee you that. That right there. Drop a fire in the chat right now for Nick Perry sharing that with us. That right there, that moment right there, if you apply it to your business, will change the trajectory of your financial future. I'm so grateful for you, man, for sharing that with the people in here. And I hope that everybody really does apply what we're talking about. We're not just talking about stuff to keep people entertained. You're really dropping some serious instruction that could change somebody's life. So this is what we're all about. This has got me fired up. Just hearing that, that's what we need to hear. Because I can tell you right now, man, I did this, right? And just like full transparency, last month I closed over 50,000, right, from Google ads. So this month I want to crush that, right? I want to consistently do multiple six figures. And obviously we got the man here who's doing it, right? Multiple six figures, multiple seven figures. That's what I'm striving to do as well. Now, I took the approach of looking at, well, where are houses selling, right? You're talking about the approach of how quickly in a market are listings going pending. Do you think that there's a correlation between the two, or would you prefer 100%, doesn't matter any other statistic, how quickly are the houses or the ratio of the houses going pending? What is that pending percentage? Is that the most important for a market, or are sales or just completed transactions important as well? Do you look at that at all?
No. The pending percentage controls the supply and demand. That tells you the temperature.
All right. Okay, that's fantastic. Now, let's talk about what you would suggest somebody that's maybe just getting started, right? Because we got people that are in here that are just getting started, that have established businesses, that are maybe looking to get into Google ads and that sort of thing. For somebody that, let's say, is an experienced wholesaler, they have the tools in their toolbox, they know the sales, so that's not going to be an issue to convert the leads, right? But we're talking strictly lead generation now. How much do they realistically need to allocate to budget for a successful Google campaign?
Yeah, I'm gonna answer that, but there's a lot of really good questions here. Everybody's asking, how do I track that metric? Super easy, guys. Go on Zillow and pull up your subject property, zoom out on it, and then from there, you're just gonna go and look for houses for sale. So deselect everything else, land and manufactured homes. Just select houses and how many houses are for sale. Zoom out until you have statistically significant results, right? Like if you're in a tiny pocket in a rural market, you might need to zoom out a bit. I'd like to see a minimum of 10 properties. The more you have, the better, right? But obviously, the more you zoom out, the less accurate the results will be. So find a sweet spot where you can get at least 10, hopefully more. And then what you're going to do is you'll see a checkbox on there that says pending. So say you've got your 10 or 100 results. You'll see on Zillow above the tiles where all the houses are, it's going to show you the number of houses for sale. And you'll go to the checkbox and click pending. And it might say out of those 100 houses, there's 65 of them pending, whatever. You just do the math and you'll be able to get the percentage. That's how you do it. Now, to answer your question in terms of what do I spend in terms of budget to really get cranking in this business, I don't care how much money you've got. If you're just getting rolling, 3 to 5K a month is plenty to get going. What I see people have the most success on in our cartel is 3 to 5 leads a day. Consistency is more important than volume. So 3 to 5 leads a day is the sweet spot where I've seen people get contracts the fastest and the most consistent, especially in the beginning. Even with our reps internally here, they only get 3 to 5 new leads a day. And it's just very, very consistent. 24/7, 365, Christmas, New Year's, nights, weekends, all of it. It's 3 to 5 leads a day and it doesn't stop.
Okay. That's fantastic. So 3 to 5 leads a day. Realistically, you said 3 to 5,000?
3 to 5,000 to get going. And then once you've got contracts and you've got properties assigned as for closings, then you can go ahead and decide to scale up. I have guys come to us all the time in our cartel and go, yo man, I'm ready to spend $40,000 a month right now. I'm like, no, not yet. Let's get you going, and then we'll scale up to that. Let's start putting the right people in place so we get you to 50, 80, $150,000 a month in advertising.
Fantastic. So first and foremost, thank you for sharing that. And if there's anybody that is interested in getting involved with the cartel, I'm all about promoting what works, right? So if this works and Nick is the guy, where can they look, to find some more information about hopping into the cartel and getting in proximity with you and your, exclusive mastermind?
Yeah, just reach out to me on Instagram and then watch our highlights too. We have the amount of success that we have, that's the biggest thing I'm proud of, is we've created over 100 millionaires in our cartel program. And so to me, that's cooler than even all the accolades that I've done in my career, is the amount of people that we get results for. So you can check out all my Instagram, just look at all the story highlights. And then if you want to book a call with my team, there's a link in there. You can book a free strategy call with them, talk about what you got going on, what you're looking to do. And then it's invite only. So if it's a good fit, then, we'll extend you an invite and get you plugged in.
And your Instagram, it's Nick Perry REI, right? I'm going to drop a link in the chat.
Yeah.
Perfect. Make sure that you're following Nick, everybody. I just dropped his link in the chat. So after this, keep up with Nick. Make sure that you're tuned in with what he's got going on. Again, we appreciate you sincerely, for coming on and sharing all of this, Nick. So let's talk about really quick, what's going to differentiate the people that try to start this on their own versus, what you've seen your members are having success doing. What's the difference between their campaigns? You're saying that they're finding these markets where the pending percentage is very high, and are they just marketing there? and how is it that they're going about finding these markets? I know that you said a moment ago you can go on Zillow and, look at a house and see if that market is high in pending percentage, but like, where are they getting these markets to even look at in the first place? Are they looking at counties? Are they looking at cities? Are they looking at states in general? Where do they start?
Yeah, I mean, within the cartel, we actually have a software that will give you that software. You can go and look at the map, and it makes it very easy. Red means good, blue means cold, right? Hot and cold. So you'll be able to see what's going on right now and make those determinations, because real estate changes all the time. Like every quarter, certain markets heat up and certain markets cool down. So you want to stay on top of, the best markets based on supply and demand. So that's one place that we look. And then we teach you not only just like advertising, but it's all the little things that really add up to making a lot of money in this business. A lot of the unsexy part of the business, right? Being able to underwrite nationwide. Like I tell all my members, they can tell you, we got 99 problems, but a lead ain't one. Like lead flow, what you'll notice, like when you work with us, like lead flow is never going to be a problem again. That's done with. Now it's focusing on actually building the business. Like, all right, let's make sure that we're properly underwriting these properties in BFE, middle of nowhere. We're not dropping contracts, and we're actually monetizing, every contract that we get. Let's talk about, actually building a team. How do you hire? How do you onboard? What do you pay people? What do you do to keep your labor and your marketing and your general administrative costs in line, so you have a very profitable bottom line? Because top line revenue, who cares about that? The only thing that matters is net revenue at the end of the day. So we go over all that. So it's really a mentorship designed to take you from where you are right now and then fast track you to that 7+ figures. So that's our aim with the group.
That's fantastic. I know that there's going to be some people in here that do follow you and that do hop into the community. So I'm already excited for you and the people that are going to see this and get involved. So for the people that are starting their Google Ads campaigns, right? Let's talk about some of the keywords, or like what are some of the things that successful entrepreneurs using Google are doing that maybe people that are taking action, that are ambitious, that are really walking the path are not doing, that separates the two?
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with keywords at all. It really comes down to knowing what's working right now. So for the first time in 22 years, Google has lost traffic because of ChatGPT and Perplexity and people searching on AI search engines. And what they have done is the majority of their developers have moved over from search campaigns to performance max and demand gen campaigns. You guys can do your own research. I don't want to get too nerdy on this call, but the blue ocean is not in search campaigns. It's in other forms of advertising, and being able to know how to position your ads in front of your target demographic, which for us, it's motivated sellers. So understanding how to craft the right audiences, how to put the right ad in front of those audiences is more important than knowing any sort of like special keyword up there. I mean, pretty much everybody bids on the same keywords.
So it's not the keywords.
Yeah, it's not the keywords. I give you all the keywords, all the negative keywords, and stuff like that. You can have that, but that's not the secret sauce that really takes you to the next level on Google Ads.
Okay. So what is?
Knowing how to put your ads in front of the right audience and serving that audience with the correct ads, right? That is the most important part of advertising. Very similar to like Facebook ads now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And so, are you doing anything specific? I know you say it's not the keywords, but do you ever look for like specific types of leads with your keywords? Are you going after people that are in foreclosure, that have inherited properties, that are going through divorce, that are in these motivated situations at all? Or is it just super broad? Is it just, I want to sell my house or sell my house now, sell my house fast? And then the people that fit those characteristics just naturally gravitate towards you?
Yeah, I mean, I bid on all those long tail keywords as well. They're not going to be as high traffic as like a sell my house fast or you know cash offer. Those type of keywords are going to generate the majority, and obviously those aren't motivation specific. But what you want to do with your Google campaigns is you want to make sure, specifically for search, that you go to your search terms and you see what people are actually typing in. Your search terms is going to tell you, am I getting clicks from the right demographic? You can see exactly what they typed in to click on your website. You just put yourself in the shoes of a motivated seller. Like, did a motivated seller type this in, or was this not a motivated seller? If it's not a motivated seller, exclude it, right? I've got tens of thousands of exclusions that are applied to my campaigns, which we give our cartel members, that I had to learn the hard way through millions of dollars of ad spend. So, um,
Is there any
you
way
know,
to get rid of the wholesalers that message you, that reach out, that have these deals, these opportunities, or they just naturally come through as part of the game?
yeah, you can start seeing trends of what wholesalers will type in. Like a lot of them will type in stuff like cash buyer.
Mm.
If you see cash buyer, majority of the time that's going to be a wholesaler. Like your normal, lady that's selling a house isn't the term cash buyer. So you got to think with that lens.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great. This has been fantastic information, ladies and gentlemen. I'd really appreciate, again, if you would show your appreciation for Nick coming on and sharing this all with us by just dropping a fire emoji in the chat, making sure that you're following Nick on Instagram. So if you haven't already, I dropped his link. Go follow him on Instagram and drop a fire emoji to show some appreciation for Mr. Perry coming on and sharing this with us, man. This is fantastic. This is literally fantastic. This is life-changing information being shared with us. I pray that each of us not only gets entertained by this, because this is fantastic and everybody on here is having a great time, but really does apply the instruction that's been given to us. I know that there's a lot of appreciation. We give you our gratitude, our sincere gratitude. Thank you so much to everybody. Over 100 people joining us today, ladies and gentlemen, in this call and learning from Nick Perry today. Just 100 people right now. This doesn't include the people that are going to see the video or whatever, but the 100 people that are live that made time to come and join us right now. We appreciate you. We extend our sincerest gratitude. Nick, I want to talk a little bit. I appreciate you sharing with the Google Ads stuff. I want to talk a little bit about just life in general real quick, because you and I are pretty similar in some ways, that we've done the business completely virtually, and you were also out in Latin America, in Mexico for some time, and then you moved from Mexico to Scottsdale, right?
Right. Yeah. So back in 2020, I promoted my COO to the CEO of my real estate company. And when I did that, that was basically like my time to let him run the company and get out of his way. So I went and traveled the world for the last 5 years. So I lived in Miami, Florida. I lived in Panama City, Panama. I've had a blast, man. Lived an incredible life. I've been to all 7 continents.
Wow.
Traveled all over the freaking world. And it's been a movie. So I've been very fortunate, to have some great experiences through real estate wholesaling. Once you build this business properly, you don't have to be a slave to it, right? The only reason that I work now is because I want to work. Like, I was in Cancun, Mexico, and at 36 years old, sitting there, kind of like semi-retired, was not a good place to be. Like, I'm a firm believer that to retire is to expire. I thought that I wanted to like retire and live this like digital nomad palm tree lifestyle, but the hustler, I mean, it won't die, man. I have to continue to grow, continue to expand, and so how many times can you ride a freaking jet ski? Yeah, I got kind of just the itch to want to jump back in, take my business to the next level. I've got other businesses that I own as well. and God's not done with me yet, right?
Amen.
So that was the catalyst that, if if God woke you up this morning, He's not done with you. He's got big plans for your life, and
Yes.
so don't don't squander it. You guys got a duty and an obligation to yourself, to God, your family, to your community, everybody around you, to go out and do great things. And so, I just really felt that, when I was sitting there, and I was like, it's time to get back and take it to the next level.
And so then you moved from Mexico back to the States, and so the motivation behind that was that you wanted to keep leveling up in business. Now,
Yeah, I
having
also got a daughter too, and
congratulations, by the way, congratulations, that's incredible, man.
living in Cancun, I love it. I'll move back to Cancun in a heartbeat. My wife was worried, my gringo ass would get kidnapped and all kinds of stuff. And I'm walking around with cartel gear in Mexico. Like, it wasn't good for us both, right? So she was like, "Baby, it's time to get back." And I was like, "All right, well, we'll go back to the States for a little while, do another work sprint, and then I'll be here for probably a couple of years. And then guess what? You'll probably see me in a couple of years again, off in some different country, living there for a couple of years."
Yeah.
That's just the way I like to roll.
The fact
Yeah.
that you have the freedom to choose is incredible. That's what this business can do for you, and you're a spitting example of that. So it's incredible to see. Since you've moved from Cancun, Mexico, and you've had a lot of stuff go on, you got married, you have a daughter. Congratulations on both of those. How have you found that business has been? Do you feel like it's changed, for like a dramatic positive increase? Do you feel like it was both going great before and after, but now, there's a benefit of being back in the States? Or, what do you feel having had that lifestyle and now gone back to the States? I know you said you can only get on the jet ski so many times and hanging out all the day or whatever, is one thing, but like being out of it and then going back to it, how does that feel?
Well, so last year before I moved back, I had to take a firm, fresh look at my business and say, all right, if I go back, I'm going back for a purpose, and I'm going back to take this business further than anybody's ever taken it in history. Period, point blank. I had to look at how my business was operating, and I made a conscious decision. So for the last decade before I moved back, I had everybody in office, in house, on the phones. It was, like boiler room style sales. And I realized, I was like, okay, I can continue to operate this model with everybody in house, but my margins were not great with having, all these Americans on salary and commission, and having to, get a bigger and bigger office every time we kept growing. And it was just turning into madness. And so I was like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get an office in Scottsdale, but I only want my top brass there. I want my CEO, I want my COO, I want my sales director, and that's it. They can manage everybody remotely. So one of the cool things that I did when I was traveling is great, guys, because it shows you, different perspectives, and it really opens your mind to a lot of things. And I went to Africa. Specifically, I was in Cape Town, and I remember just like talking to these people over there, and they're so well spoken, hustlers, sharp, hungry, money motivated. I'm like, dude, these guys are better than my people in the United States. They speak with a British accent. I'm like, I would hire this guy right now. And so when I came, I was like, all right, I'm just start bringing people in from South Africa. So started bringing some people in to do acquisitions and dispositions from South Africa, and guess what? They ended up taking my Americans' jobs. Got better. They did better than my Americans, and so started basically weeding out our Americans. We moved to Scottsdale, and everybody went remote besides my leadership team. And now we've been able to drop our labor costs significantly. We have a much healthier bottom line. But guess what? When I did that, I really had to tear my business down and build it back up. So like January and February this year, we went down to like 100K a month. Which for me, if I'm at 100K a month, I'm on freaking suicide watch, right? That is not good for me. Like for us, like $4, $5, $600,000 a month for an EV. So I was losing money in Q1, but I knew that was going to be the case. A lot of times in business, you got to go red to go green. You know, if you make a conscious decision that, hey, I'm going to tear my business down and build it back up, or I'm going to hire these new people, don't expect to get a return right away. You're making an investment. You're going to go down before you go up. And that's just how it goes. So that's exactly what I did. Tore my business down. Now it's built back up to where it was before, but way more profitable, and we're continuing to grow.
Wow. So hiring these people from South Africa helped your bottom line because you're spending less, right? So maybe the number can fluctuate, but you have more space, you know, to be able to pay these people and stay in business, keep your profit margin, you know, at a good level.
No, I mean, I pay them. The cool thing about Cape Town is your labor arbitraging, right? And just South Africa in general. A board certified physician over there makes $3,000 to $4,000 US a year after going to 12 years of school. Right? So we pay them, you get $7 an hour and 2% commission. They're freaking thrilled. You're not getting anybody in Latin America even anymore, or the States, obviously. Like Latin America, I love Latin America, but they're spoiled now too. So there's few good remaining pockets in the world where you can get good sales talent and really arbitrage and you know, make an impact on your P&L.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely have to take a look at South Africa, man. I've been sticking around Latin America for the time zone. That's been the biggest thing for me. I just don't want to go because I'm afraid. Oh well, if I'm in the other side of the world, I guess my sleeping habits would be all messed up.
But yeah, I mean they work your hours, you know, so they'll they'll work usually like from their time. They're working from like 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening till like 12, 1 o'clock at night. That's their work.
Right on.
They're like 9 hours each. Yep.
Hey, I'd love to open it up. We got a little bit of time here, ladies and gentlemen. For anybody that has any questions, please drop your questions in the side chat. We want to bring on some people, you know, that have contributed to the community. Please feel free to raise your hand, come up, join us on the stage. If you have a question, you know, for Nick, this is that opportunity. Do not let it slip. All right. There are people in here at all levels, whether you're just getting started, whether you close multiple deals. You might have a 6-figure operation right now where you're consistently closing 50 to 60 grand a week, 50 to 60 grand a month, 100 grand plus a month. Or, you know, you're closing your first deal, making 10, 15, or $5,000. Doesn't matter where you're at. We encourage you to speak up and take advantage of this opportunity right now.
Hey Nick and John, how you guys doing?
Pleasure to see you, Jordan.
Doing great.
Hey, so I had a quick question for Nick. As far as cause I'm in the phase of hiring some acquisition people too. Did you happen to have a site where you got the South African people, or was that like manual outreach? How did you find them?
Yeah, Indeed. Indeed's phenomenal in
Just
South
Indeed.
Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, they have some other job boards over there as well, but Indeed will get you a ton of applicants. That's where we've hired most of our South African workforce.
Okay, and then you're able to put like the location on Indeed, pretty much is what you did.
Yeah, I don't care what city they're from there. So I'll advertise in all the major cities, you know, for the same position.
Okay. And you're able to target specifically South African.
Yeah, you just go on there when you post a job. You
Okay.
post Durban, South Africa, or Johannesburg, South Africa, Cape Town. Yeah, you can go on ChatGPT or Google. Look
Okay,
at the top
cool.
there and start posting in their cities.
All right, thank you very much.
You got it, man.
Thank you, Jordan. We got a couple more. We got Ernesto. Let's bring Ernesto up. My man. Brother Ernesto.
I'm in my car. You guys can see my car. Hold on.
There he
What's
is.
going on, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? Nick, pleasure having you here, man. Thanks again for all the free game that you dropped for the community. I think I can speak on behalf of myself and everybody here. We're super grateful to have you here. So, 2 very brief questions. So first and foremost, at least in my operation, we are a small team based here in the States. We have an acquisitions person, a dispo person, and a TC. Pretty simple, pretty lean, because like you said earlier, it's not about your top line, it's about how much you keep. With regards to any outbound marketing channel, is to say something that, yes, you have to throw money out there, and in turn, with your efforts compounding every day, you'll get that money back. Would you recommend that I hire, let's say, cold callers from South Africa, or at that point, just delegate that to an agency that'll go ahead and do that for me and take my money and actually implement that into in-house inbound marketing channels such as Google PPC, such as SEO, or such as Facebook ads?
Yeah. Like I'm not anti-cold calling. I'm just pro money, right? So my thing is okay. Look at the metrics for outbound versus for inbound. Okay, so outbound marketing is going to take you traditionally like 40 to 60 leads to get a deal, right? The cost of the lead is maybe whatever, $35, 40, $55 a lead. Who cares about that? Here's where outbound really sucks, is that it's the sales cycle. It takes you on average with cold calling like 4 to 6 months to get up from the time a lead comes in to the time it goes under contract. Because they're not, you got to catch them at the right time, you got to continue to follow up. And that's what kills you. A big metric that a lot of people miss in this game is your cash conversion cycle. How many times can you turn money over in a calendar year? So if you're waiting 4 to 6 months and to get a property under contract, and then it takes you another 4 to 6 weeks to get it closed, you're looking at a 6, 7, 8 month sales cycle. It's very hard to get a lot of growth if you're only turning your money once or twice a year like that. So that's why I'm big on PPC, is because the PPC, it's 3 days is the average time from a lead that hits your CRM to the time it goes under contract. And then, the same time to close, 30 to 45 days. So sales cycle is a lot faster. Now, if you're adamant about doing cold calling, which maybe, the only reason I would say you're doing cold calling, maybe you have hedge fund buyers and you have to target a specific type of house. Or maybe you're buying rentals and you've got a certain avatar of properties that you want to hit. That's when cold calling is a great tool. If that's you want to do that, then I would hire an agency to do it, because dealing with in-house cold callers is a nightmare. It's another job in itself. I would rather just pay a premium to have a reputable company that will do that for me, and then I can just focus on talking to these sellers and closing deals.
For sure, yeah, that was kind of my same framework, give or take. But at the end of the day, right, it's always great to hear that from somebody such as you in the position that you're in. But yeah, I appreciate it, brother. Keep crushing it, and I'll see you at the top, man. I'll see everybody else here too.
Yes, sir.
Let's go, man. Love to hear it.
Appreciate you.
Question, man.
Appreciate you, Ernesto. We got Max. We'll see if Max pops on.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Welcome in, Max.
Okay, sweet. Hey, so yeah, I just had a question for Nick. I've been wholesaling in my local market, and I'm doing everything, like all my appointments face to face. So I'm kind of trying to shift away from doing wholesale deals to starting to do some novations. But most of the novation pitches I found online are they seem to be kind of tailored more towards if you're a big home buying company and you got to get your manager's approval and all that. So I'm kind of trying to figure out a way to where I can, present myself as just the small local cash buyer, but have a way where I can give them a novation pitch, as I'm kind of presenting myself as just, a local cash buyer. I feel like it's kind of different than if you're hey, well, let me run this by my manager for approval. We have this special program. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense at all, but I guess could you kind of give me maybe a real simple novation pitch I could throw out to them where it's, where I'm not a home buying company, I'm just a regular local cash buyer, kind of how I've been doing that, if that makes sense at all?
authenticity sells. I'm 100% with you. Like if you're not being authentic with the sellers, it can smell that, right? These people are smart. We don't give them credit. You got to be real with them, and you got to be genuine, or they're not going to do business with you. People do business with people they like, know, and trust. I'll tell you what I'll do is I will actually give you our Novation script that we currently use right now.
Hey.
You can modify it what you want to do with it.
Drop some fire in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, for the Novation script, man. We've got Nick Perry sharing the Novation script with us. We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, Nick.
Of course. I haven't talked to a seller on the phone since like 2017 or 2018. So I'll drop that in for you guys. Give me 1 second. I'll put that in the chat. Matter of fact, you know what I'm gonna do for you for this group is I'm gonna go ahead and put an entire folder specific towards novations in here.
Let's
You guys
go.
will be able to- Yeah, this is only for our cartel numbers, but you guys, this is probably $1 million worth of game right here.
Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Show the support, show the love for Mr. Nick Perry, man, coming on and sharing with us. Let's go.
It's got a bunch of videos with my CEO, exactly how he does it. So it's right there.
Phenomenal.
And, yeah, just jump in there.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you.
I guess like if I take a look at that, you think it'll probably be pretty simple, where I can kind of like just add in or take away my own little certain things to kind of just like tailor it to like how I'm trying to do it.
Yeah, because we actually are like a big home buying company, and we do 30, 40 deals a month, and we actually have to. My team needs approval, so like you might see that in my script where they're saying, hey, let me get it. Let me get this approved for you. But you obviously, if you're just a one-man show, then don't BS the sellers. Just be real with them. You're gonna get a lot further that way than, yeah.
Just kind of say something like, hey, maybe this isn't the best fit for me to take on as a project, but simply just be like, hey, but I know, all the local cash buyers here, and I can actually market your property to them, and get, kind of line them up as the end buyer and get paid some kind of a fee through them. I mean, just something simple like that, like.
Yeah, the simpler and more transparent, the better. If you're doing an innovation, let them know, hey, I'm going to be able to get you more money on this property. We're going to actually have a family move in here. I'm going to do whatever it takes to, get this sold quickly, and also put money into this if needed. So, we got to get the house ready to show. We need to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm going to line up, my team to come out and knock out the work on, and it's going to be on my dime. I'm going to pay for it.
Okay.
Most of these sellers, a lot of them don't have cash to go and, or the time or energy to go deal with, contractors and the headaches of getting a house ready to sell.
Yeah, okay, hell yeah.
That was a fantastic question, Max. Go ahead, sorry.
That's it, man. I mean, I'd probably take one more, and then I'm heading out. I'm going to Steve Trang's office. We're going to be doing an episode of Real Estate Disruptors.
Oh, let's go. That's fantastic. Tell Steve I said what's up, man. We got to have him back on the podcast.
I sure will.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, we got time for one more. Take advantage of this opportunity. If there's anybody that wants to come up, raise your hand now. I just want to say I appreciate you, Nick, for making time today to hop on. This has been great. This has definitely been one of, if not the best, podcasts we've had so far. Fantastic.
Thank you, man. What you guys can do to pay me back is take action. A wise man will learn from his mistakes. A brilliant man will learn from another man, which is why you guys are on here. What separates the most successful people is how quickly they can go from idea or new knowledge to actual implementation in their business. So if you just get off here and you go through the rest of your day, no, I want you guys to write a list on what exactly you're gonna do right now and start knocking out that list. And that is how you all can repay me, and I wanna just see all y'all succeed. So if you get jammed up anywhere throughout the process, reach out to me on Instagram. You know, I'm on there probably more than I should be.
Hey Nick, just have a quick question. I was working with Abran, and what they were doing, they were connecting buyers and sellers. So that from my question raised that what do you think about marketplaces? Will they be stable in future, and how much a person should depend on platforms like Zillow and Realtor.com?
Clarify the question. Did you catch that? Is
No.
the question basically, am I worried about these online marketplaces that like Zillow coming and basically taking market share from individual investors? Is that the question?
The question is that a buyer or an agent is dependent on platforms like Zillow and Letters.com. So how this question raised that I was working with a brand, what they were doing, they were bypassing this thing and they were directly connecting buyers and sellers on their platforms. So I'm just asking that how stable that platforms are, and if I am as an agent is dependent on that kind of platforms, could I be collapsed in the future? Uh,
So
Yeah, I
could
wouldn't bet against Zillow. If you're doing some shady stuff with Zillow, they will shut you down. Yeah, like you might be flying under the radar for a minute, but they got the most sophisticated algorithms, and they have freaking teams of thousands of people that are looking for suspicious activity and IP addresses every single day. And one day you're gonna wake up and boom, you're out of business. It's gonna happen.
yeah, fantastic. Thank you, brother.
You got it.
Hey, I have a question from an agent standpoint.
Go for it.
So I've kind of been listening in and out about this, and been in and out of meetings all day. I'm trying to understand the sub two purchases and what exactly, how exactly you guys structure that, because the way from an agent side perspective, to me it just sounds like a lease with an option. So what exactly can you say about that?
Yeah, it's not a lease with an option. What they're doing is they're taking over the seller's mortgage, right? So it's called subject, you're taking over subject to the existing mortgage. So say a seller has a $1,500 a month mortgage payment. That's their PITI. All in, it's $1,500. Well, me as an investor, I might go to that seller and say, hey, listen, I'll take over your mortgage payment because either I know I can rent it out for a higher amount. Maybe I could rent that property for $2,200, right? I'll say, okay, I'll take over your existing mortgage. That way you don't have the burden of this mortgage anymore. A lot of times it works when the sellers don't have enough equity and they're kind of underwater. That's when it works
Okay.
really well.
So how do you get the due on sale clause? How do you go around that?
You put the property in a trust. There's a lot of people that talk about this online. I'm not big on sub twos myself. Essentially, you can use trust in different strategies.
So the money that they receive, would that be considered income at that point, or long-term capital gains because they're taxed differently?
You're talking about the seller?
For the seller,
Money that-
correct?
Well, you're just taking over their mortgage payment. If you're paying their mortgage, that's not going to be classified as like capital gains or anything like that. I'm
So
not
they
a
don't.
yet or anything.
No, I know. Yeah, I don't expect that. I don't expect. I'm just trying to understand it in terms of like how to structure a deal with a sub two, because if somebody, let's say, gets part of their equity back, let's say they owe, I don't know, if they have 15 grand worth of equity, buyer pays them 15 grand and then covers the mortgage, the 15 grand, at least to me, just sounds like income unless it's a
Yeah.
long-term capital gain.
Yeah, they'll have to pay, that if it's they're getting 15K wire up front and then they're taking over the mortgage, yeah, they're gonna need to report that. IRS. I don't know how it's gonna be classified, but yeah, there will be some taxes involved. It's taxable of that.
Okay, I appreciate it, thanks.
You got it.
All right. We appreciate you. What's up, Kevin?
For sure, man. I don't have time for it, unfortunately, today. I got a jet, but appreciate all of y'all and look forward to staying in touch and connecting more and y'all in the next one.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nick. We greatly appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, drop some fire in the chat for Nick Perry. Until next time, thank you, Nick. Make sure that you're following him on Instagram. We dropped his Instagram in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the #1 most valuable real estate community in existence. If you haven't already, you got to invite somebody that you think would benefit from being in proximity with us. The information that was shared on this call today alone is enough for you to go out and implement in your business to change the trajectory of your financial future. So please do not sleep on this. This is not just entertainment. I don't put these podcasts together just to get up on a stage and entertain people. I get up here so that we can all be in proximity with people that are actively crushing this business. All right. That's the purpose of us being here and being in proximity with each other. And the more of us that are taking action, the more of us that are closing deals, the more of us that are actively pursuing this business, the more opportunity will exist. So you've got to get out there and do the work. We've got to continue to scale. We've got to continue to do more business. We've got to continue to fill our pockets so that we can continue to expand, so that we can continue to revolt. This is a revolution, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm so blessed to be in proximity with all of you. We crushed over 100 live concurrent viewers on this stream. That is fantastic to see. So blessed, so grateful to see the community is alive and well. Make sure, if you haven't already, to tap into the general chat. Watch the people, watch the conversations that are going down here. You don't want to miss out on these opportunities. Just being active in here, just looking at your phone, scrolling through the conversation, you can find opportunities just by being in this room to make money at whatever level. If you can go take photos for someone, if you've got a buyer, somebody has a deal, if you're a buyer, if you're looking for a deal, you can tell people in here to find you one and they'll get it to you. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to drop the link, especially now, for everybody to go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. There are some people asking if there is going to be a replay. You have to subscribe to the channel. We've got that drive from Nick. I'm going to make sure that everybody gets a link. Go look up in the chat. He dropped the link for us. Make sure that you're inviting somebody you think would benefit from being in proximity with us. This has been by far the best podcast yet, and I'm so excited for the ones that we're going to have in the future. Until next time, love y'all.